Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to episode 14 of Jujutsu Kaisen. We are back. It's only been like, not even 2 full months, but it feels like it's been longer. I don't know why, it feels like it's been a lot longer since we've reacted to this series. Maybe it's just because of everything we've reacted to in the meantime. It's just everything that I've done in the meantime on the channel and in real life. It just feels like it's been so much longer. But, that being said, we are back. And last time, where we left off, it made me really fucking sad. And angry, and a lot of other emotions. And I think that those emotions were shared by Itadori. Because Junpei was manipulated by Mahito, and he died. He was killed after being transfigured and his body being unable to handle it. And it affected Itadori in a way that I don't think anything has before. It was extremely hard on him because they had become friends, and even though Junpei had kind of lost his way due to Mahito's manipulation, he was clearly showing that he was ready to come back to the side of good. And it's just a really sad story. Junpei's story is just extremely depressing. And yet, in a weird, kind of warped sense, that's what makes it so good. The series, the original writer and everything, makes us care about Junpei as a character. We're made to understand his plight, to see his trauma as a victim of excessive bullying and just someone who has become numb to the world. And a lot of us can relate to that. A lot of us have gone through bullying. A lot of us have seen the horrors of the world and understand how terrible it can be. But then there's also moments in our world, in our lives, like what we see him go through when he becomes friends with Itadori. Their shared love of movies and stuff. The connections they instantly make. The happiness that Junpei gets to feel. And on top of that, he has a very awesome mother who also died, which was kind of the catalyst for his downfall and Mahito's manipulation, which was, you know, the point. And it's just like, just that entire arc was really fucking sad. And on top of it, Nanami almost died as well. But, luckily, Itadori and kind of unwillingly, Sukuna were able to save him. It's really wild where this series went. Because when I first watched it, when I first watched the first episode, it's like I loved it. It was exceptional. But at the same time, it then went in directions I really did not expect when it, like, killed off Itadori and then, you know, brought him back to life, but still. It's like, oh. I mean, I guess Dragon Ball did that too, mind you, but still. Oh. Dragon Ball Z at least, killed off Goku quite a few times. But this is better than Dragon Ball Z, mind you. So there's that. But either way. Now we get into the Oh god, what is it called? I have it listed here. The Kyoto Sister School Exchange Event. That's it. I have it down because I always forget what it's called. But that's what we're getting into now. I do know that already. I knew that well in advance. And I do know that these next 4 episodes are basically a 4-parter. That these 4 episodes are all kind of one thing. I'm not reacting to them all together, mind you. I'm at least right now, since we're just getting back into it, I'm going to be doing 1 episode at a time. I know it's a 4-parter, but I'm going to not react to them all together. Just because that would just be a little much for getting back into it. Plus, I have other things I need and want to record today, the day I'm recording this. So, yeah. But I am excited to get back into this, because with this event, this is what Itadori was training for, right? To come back and reunite with his friends Fushiguro and Nobara at this event. I believe that was the case. I believe that's what Gojo had said. And we know that Nobara and Fushiguro had been preparing for this, and we've already met some of the Kyoto students. Maki's sister, who is an absolute bitch. And then my least favorite character in the series so far. Like, even beating out Volcano Head for how much I hate him. The sexist piece of shit, whose name I don't even care to remember. Who judges people based on how they view women, and if your answer's, in his eyes, boring, which basically means if you actually respect women, he hates you. So yeah, there's that. But we got to see a little hint of our other upperclassmen's abilities. Got to see Panda fight a little bit. Got to see a little bit of those Black Bolt-esque voice powers. For all you who understand who Black Bolt is from Marvel. Yeah. It's really interesting. And those are still really cool powers. I like those powers. I might have to actually check out the Inhumans series. I know that's weird to say because I know how unpopular that series is. But after seeing Black Bolt in Multiverse of Madness, I kind of want to, just because his powers are so cool. And I want to see more of what they can do, you know? But yeah. I'm very much excited to get back into this. Like I said, it's been almost 2 months, and this series is just really fucking good. Like, surprisingly so. Because a lot of shonen shows these days tend to fall into a lot of stereotypes and cliches, and just aren't really that special. A lot of them just feel a lot very generic and samey. Demon Slayer is an example, in my opinion. But this one has definitely avoided that trap and feels very unique. Even though there's obviously some clear inspirations from other shows, such as Bleach, it does still feel unique in the way it handles all of it. The characters are well done. The writing is exceptionally solid. And I just really enjoy the content and the power system and how they're handling the pacing of everything. And it's definitely building to some interesting things. That's for sure. Season 2 is coming at some point, and obviously we will most likely react to that when that comes out. But obviously we've also got the movie in between. So there's going to be that as well. But the big focus right now is just finishing Season 1. And like I said, I'm excited to do so. So we're going to get right into it. When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades black and fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, good to be back. A really good setup episode for the exchange event. Just getting things started and everything, getting things, like, really rolling. We have the two schools coming together, get to see the other students in the Kyoto school, and set up what's going to happen for our first event. The big thing to note here is that the Kyoto school, through the principal, are planning to attempt to kill Itadori. That is their goal here. That is their entire mission. And it's like this kind of idea from them has been made pretty clear, that they don't see Yuji as a person. Like this isn't new information or anything. And it's already been made very clear by Gojo that the higher-ups in general are kind of like this. Not just from Kyoto, but just overall. So it's by no means a surprise. But it's so wild how unfortunately realistic this is. And that might, like, catch you off guard, but think about it. There are people in our world who view others as less than human. Whether through the color of their skin, the fact that they're queer, or just so many other factors. Throughout history, people have been considered less than human. Racism was rampant all around the world, and especially here in America, for a long time, and it still exists. And it's unfortunately probably going to continue to still exist because people are continuing to raise others in that regard. That's why we have stuff like Black Lives Matter and all, because so many people still have to be reminded of that people of color are people. And you see even politicians here in America often treat women, people of color, the disabled, anyone who's basically not a straight white male, they treat them as less than human, as lesser than them. And it's the same kind of thing here. Simply because Yuji is the vessel for Sukuna, he suddenly isn't human anymore to them. He doesn't matter. And the principal's even saying in this episode, it's like, because of that fact, stating as if it's like some kind of irrefutable fact, no one will question it as anything more than an accident. The thing is, I'm fully confident if they did succeed in killing Itadori, I'm fully confident Gojo would completely snap. I'm completely serious. We saw how upset Gojo was when he thought Yuji was dead before. We saw, like, he was even considering going after the elders and all then. If he found out that the Kyoto school actively planned to kill Itadori and succeeded, if that did happen, it's obviously not gonna, but if it did, you know 100% he would kill them. He would snap and he would kill them. He would not be able to hold back. He might regret it, because as he stated before, he wants to handle things in more of a proper way to, like, make the next generations and everything better. The entire reason he became a teacher. But again, you know kind of where his mindset regarding all of that has been. So I don't think Gojo will like it, even if he hears that this is in the plans, even if it doesn't succeed, when it doesn't succeed. But yeah, I think this is going to cause some problems in that regard. But we also see that the Curse group are planning on stealing the fingers that the school currently has, that they're holding back on at the moment while they evaluate Yuji. And we find out that Gojo is the only one who wants Yuji to just eat all the fingers right away. So there's that interesting little tidbit in there as well. But a lot of this really centers around like getting to see the Kyoto students and everything, getting to see the ones we haven't met before, as well as bringing Yuji back into the fold with his fellow students from the Tokyo school. We get to see Fushiguro and Nobara's initial reactions to seeing him alive, and yeah, it's kind of what I expected. I didn't expect like this big surprise thing that Gojo was thinking. I wasn't expecting them to be like shocked and be like crying or excited and everything. I expected them to be upset, and they were upset, especially Nobara, who was pissed about that. And we know both of them were really upset when they thought he had died. Like, they were actually genuinely upset about it. So seeing them like get angry and horrified and just freaked out by the fact that he's alive, it's like, yeah, that makes sense. But we get to see like him start to meet the others, such as Maki and Panda and them, and start to get the lowdown on it. We even get some more information on the cursed speech and everything and how that all works. Not like all the information, mind you, but we find out that he can actually hurt himself with it if he's not careful. So holding back and using only the like ingredients as his normal talking is also a way to have him protect himself as well as others. So it's really interesting in that regard. And it seems like his speech, his cursed speech, has some downsides to it as well, which means that he probably has to practice very carefully with it and very often. So that's really interesting and gives a little more depth to his character and his powers. And we still don't get information on Panda. It still avoids that. Why is there a talking panda? We don't know. But yeah, it's like this episode served to make me hate the Kyoto students even more than I already did. Like, we'd only met like a couple of them before, and I already hated their guts. They are exceptionally horrible and disgusting, and I hate them. But this one, it's like made it even more so. The only one I like is the blue-haired girl. I can't think of her name right now. Was it Miwa or something? But, you know, the Gojo fangirl. She's the only one I like it because she's the only one who seems to be good. She's questioning the entire orders to kill Itadori, blatantly noting that she doesn't want to. She's very much against all of this aggression from everyone else. I would still say my least favorite is still probably Todo, but that one new guy we saw with like the little the wrappings on his hair and everything, oh, he pissed me off a lot. Because he very much seems like he's all in on the principal's viewpoints on Itadori and everything, and it's like, oh my god. It's like, okay, so you're a Class A jackass as well. Lovely. But then, at least the episode kind of came to a close with a little bit of a higher note, having a little bit of what could be easily seen as shipping fuel for Nobara and Maki, with Nobara leading the charge as they get ready to head out into their first battle by saying, "Let's do this for Maki." And it's like, I love that. I love that Nobara and has just really, like, connected with Maki, you could say. Like, even if you don't want to go with the ship sense of it, like, let's say you ship Nobara with Itadori, for example. Even if that's the case, you can't deny that Nobara likes Maki. Even if you don't want to see it as romantic, she likes her for sure. She very much sees her almost kind of like a big sister, you could say, in that regard. But a lot of us, I feel, see them as more. I definitely ship them very hard. Just like I ship Itadori with Fushiguro. I think there's a lot to go with regarding that. More so than with Nobara and Maki, but I still say that's got some little hints there too. So hey, I'm a shipper. I'll take anything I can get. But yeah, I very much enjoyed this episode. It was a good setup episode and a good way to get us back in. I feel like I cut it off at exactly the right time. The halfway point. It was exactly when I needed to cut it off and take a break. So coming back into this series with a setup episode like this was very helpful. It allowed me to kind of get back into it with a slow start, but also see the hype and potential of what's to come. Because we're going to get some cool fights, we know that. The curses are going to be mobilizing, and Volcano heads back, so there's that. It's going to get pretty interesting, for sure. But that's going to be for next time. We'll see how it goes, how this first battle really gets going, and hopefully we see some cool shit. So for the time being, tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this episode of Jujutsu Kaisen? And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.